And welcome to the Fatboy FadeAway Sports episode 177. And we got the original Big Three back on the show here. It's been a while, gentlemen. How are we doing this morning? We just got on a little bit. Case, start you. It's been a while. Headphones, my goodness. How are we doing?
Good. I'm locked in. I feel like I feel good.
This is a big change, Tyler. This is like somebody that's like from going from training wheels to the big night. I feel like Casey's made a big upgrade. It's good. It's good to see you, man.
Took the training wheels off, so that's nice. Feel like I'm part of the big boy crowd now.
That's
it's nice
funny.
to sit at the cool table. But yeah, no, it's good, man. It's good to see you guys, man. It's just it's been a blessed weekend so far. I got to hang out with my nephews.
So what did you guys see Garfield yesterday?
Saw Garfield. Yeah, it was an entertaining movie. It was nice. Chris Pratt and Samuel L. Jackson were the voiceovers and little Snoop Dogg. So it was cool. It was a good movie, entertaining. Anytime you go with a 5, 8, and 11-year-old, it's like, God, this is like a real adult movie. You'd be like, can you guys just sit still? It's like, and then Derek, and I knew it was bad. I was like, you're gonna share popcorn with Derek. I was like, son of. I was like, why do I got to split with the big kid?
I was thinking, has anybody had a better rise than Snoop Dogg from his early days? I like getting Garfield cartoon. Yeah, what a rise!
Murder was a case to do in little kids' movies.
Exactly.
Now he's got his own college bowl, which is pretty amazing.
Casey, I don't know if you heard us before, Tyler. You were saying that Casey said that Tyler was saying his team had one of the other teams in his Sebastopol league turned down a chance to go to TOC because they had too many players were going on vacation. And Tyler said probably the team would get smoked too. But doesn't that for me, I'm still like, how do you, if you were a kid, I'd be like, what do you mean we don't get a chance to go to TOC? It's just funny how, I don't know. That kind of surprises me. If you're doing the little league thing to begin with, I would just think that would be like one of the best parts of it. So,
well, someone that actually participated.
My parents
I participated in TOC.
Yeah, and they said they couldn't go because they were too many kids on vacation.
If they were like the bottom tier kids, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine.
That's their top tier kids.
Yeah, so. But no, I was.
But wouldn't you be like, clear the calendar, Mom? I'm going to TOC. You guys can go on vacation without me. Stay, keep me at my friend's house.
Oh man, dude, I swear it was the best experience. Like, I mean,
don't rub it in too much. You're hurting my feelings.
No, I'm sorry, brother. I always forget. I did run into Danny and his dinosaurs brother, and it was funny to see Ryan. And he's like, "You played against my brother." I was like, "Oh yeah," and I beat him in the championship. It's just like
you one hit us.
Yeah, that's right. You were the one that got the hit. You son of a gun.
A little blooper, right? Anyway, what were you going to say about your TOC experience?
It was amazing because you get to see people from like all different regions, and I got to face, which was probably the best pitcher, I think, and obviously became a hell of an athlete, which was Zach Peterman. And so just getting to face like, players that you would face in high school or maybe some that might be in college, it's just like, it was a cool experience. And to be able to compete against them and succeed and have your ups and downs. And obviously we lost our first game and then we had to win like 5 or whatever just to get to the championship game. And then you have a 10-year-old and I pitching and the inning restrictions. And it was just like the game was insane. Yeah, we ended up losing, I think, the semis to go on to the next one, but it was fun, dude. It was just such a blast being a kid because it's just
apparently in Sebastopol it's not such a blast. They decided to all right. What do you guys make of the NBA finals here? We're all the way here. We got to the Mavs and we got to the Celtics. We figured the Celtics would make it. The Mavs obviously didn't even make the playoffs the year before, so obviously everybody knew they had Luka, they had Kyrie, so they were a factor. But I think there was other parts that were missing where people actually thought that they would get in at the start of the year. Let's go with like biggest storylines, like kind of work through some of the things that you're kind of going to take away right as soon as you think of this series. Tyler, what's kind of like your initial big storyline here?
I mean, I think it's Kyrie going back to Boston and Porzingis going back to Dallas, both places where they kind of had a little tumultuous. It looked like their career was on the downturn after they left those places. They were both incredibly talented, but after they left there, they're like, oh, something's wrong with these players. There's some flaws there. Kyrie's kind of saying things. He's flipping people off when he's in Brooklyn, in Boston. Like he didn't look like the same guy as he does now. So I think like just seeing how that goes off the court and on the court now will be just fun to watch.
Case, what's one of your storylines?
Oh, boys, I've been waiting for this one for a while. I cannot wait for Jaylen Brown to win finals and send Tatum back to the second as him being the number one. It's just like, man, I just love it. Was my favorite part. I talked to my boy James, and I think the storyline was as soon as the Celtics won and Jaylen Brown got the finals MVP or Western Conference, I was like, maybe there might be a change of the guard of the 1 and 2 between Boston. But for me, it'll be interesting. That's my storyline to see if Jaylen Brown does win Finals MVP, if the Celtics pull it off. How will this kind of transcend? Will Jaylen Tatum be put above?
Well, I think if he wins it, I think he'll.
Or Jaylen Brown, excuse me.
No, Jaylen Brown, gotcha. Yeah. What do you think of that, T? As Logan.
I mean, I just asked you as a Warriors fan. We saw Iguodala win an MVP, Finals MVP, and no one was like, I mean, Brown's closer than Iguodala and Brown's closer to Tatum than Iguodala ever was to Steph. But I don't think that Finals MVP. If Tatum still plays great and Brown just plays better, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It could happen for sure.
But you can tell.
I'm not there yet, though.
I'm just saying because the way that Jaylen Brown's been talking in the media and how he got snubbed from an All-NBA team, and how does Jason Tatum get a one All-NBA and Jaylen Brown doesn't get on any of the teams, and he's the highest paid player in the NBA. It's just you can tell he's got a lot of bitterness. I think when he said the quote of like, I think I'm better than half the people in the league. I think he was talking about his teammate as well.
I'm with you kind of on the with his can Tatum finish the job, because I feel like he still gets the best defender for the most part. You know what I mean, over Brown, so he's still taking most of that. And then I was critical of him a little bit on double like towards the end of the game, being very very critical of him on that part of it. I still think he's like the 5th best player in the NBA. I think I don't think I could put Tatum any lower than that. Yeah, I'm talking about Tatum now. No, that's where I'm at. Yeah, I think because to me that's the other storyline for me is Tatum. Can he kind of finish that job, get over what you said, Luka, a little bit there? And I think that's where it's at. I think people know Brown is really good, but I mean, unless he does something different, I've never really and he's playing good, but I don't know. Do you guys still feel like he's getting the number one attention on the offense? I don't.
No.
I think he's gonna.
It's got to matter a little bit, right, Case?
No, it does, but Jaylen Brown, I think, is a better two-way player. I think he's like the Klay Thompson, but
I would say he's definitely he's a more focused defender. But I feel like Tatum can be underlooked at times, especially I've seen him actually protect the rim better than I thought he would at times. Be a win.
He disappears though so much. He doesn't score for 13 minutes. It's just where did he go? I don't know. It's just let's just pass the Pritchard, let's pass the Hauser, and it's dude, just shoot. It's just he's 6'10", 6'9". It's just go to the rack. But I will say he's played efficiently. I won't say that. I mean, he's
it's just finishing moments in the game. That's what we saw against the Warriors. I felt like when we saw Tatum is he got scattered at moments. So in big situations to keep them consistent. This is now a team 2 years later. So to that point, we said, can Tatum finish the job? Pressure on the Celtics. And Logan, you're out. I know you're not biased out there at Texas, but I love that. I love what I'm getting. I get a few baseball, then he gives me a basketball text. I'm yes, come on, Logan. We're getting into it a little bit. We're getting a little basketball in with him. We were talking Pacers next season, so he was even into that. So what do you think of that, T? As we kind of talk about the stars of Boston, the whole team, they have the most pressure, right? That's the biggest storyline. I feel like the Celtics are the favorite. I feel and they should win it this year.
I think there's pressure on both teams. I think there's a lot of pressure on both teams because none are guaranteed to go back with the loaded West and Kyrie and Doncic. Kyrie's getting older, but yeah, the Celtics have been there already. They've been in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know how many years in a row, and the roster is absolutely complete right now. This is the best it's going to be. At some point, they're going to have cap casualties, and people are going to have to go. And they're loaded right now. From 1 to 5, if Porzingis stays healthy. So yeah, they have more pressure. I think an interesting.
I don't see that with Dallas the same way with you. I feel like Dallas would get a little bit more of a pass. I mean, unless they got swept maybe 4-0 or something like that, there might be a little heat. But I feel like Boston would take I feel like more of the
I
pressure.
agree that Boston will take more. I would feel pressure if I was on Dallas. I don't think the media is going to put any pressure on Dallas. They're like the darlings. They were the 5 seed.
Yeah. In the West, though, where they should be they could be the 1 seed out east. We got that.
2 seed for sure.
I have this one with the Mavericks too. Who will hold the title if the Mavericks did win? The Cuban is the owner. I don't know. Does he get to hold the trophy, or is somebody else holding the trophy? If that was the case, this is where my mind goes with the finals sometimes. Like,
did Cuban sell the team?
Yeah, remember he sold the team, but he still gets to control like the basketball side of the operations. But I'm like, if you own the team, but like I don't know. We'll see. That's a part I'm intrigued about. To see who is out there. Are they fighting over the trophy? My gosh!
Will Luka be allowed to finish his beer?
Michael Finley's like, no. He gives him a Coors Light. Have some water instead, sir. Have some water instead. Okay, we don't want you to have that. That was kind of funny, actually, when he took his beer. You think he was messing with them, or do you actually think he meant it?
I think he was dead serious. He just took it and walked away. He didn't even like give him a hug after or before. Or maybe they gave him a hug before and didn't show that on the camera, but he just took it, and the disappointment in Luka's eyes was very evident.
Especially after he had 1 sip. Right? It was like, no.
Just crack it.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny because like the Luka gave, which I didn't know at the time, and then it was the GM that gave him the hug, and then Michael Finley was like, "Well, that's my boss. I can't let Luka be drinking in front of my boss. You're gonna give me that beer, kid." It's like this is not a good look.
There's been a few has there been a few like post game beer things where I remember Clay was drinking a beer one time during a press conference. He was kind of struggling, and he was just standing like drinking a Coors Light or something like that as they were doing. That was like from 8 years ago. There's always been a few like where guys have like cracked. It's just different little. It's like Stone Cold a little bit out there. The cracking it. There was a little. that was a funny moment though. In that game though. That was actually pretty. And the way Luka reacted, like, you're right, Tyler. Like, what? Oh, what the?
He like tracks it as a Canadian. He's like,
just hit the lips, man. Just hit the lips.
It was a strong beer though. It looked like a Guinness.
Yeah, maybe he's like, all right, what do you guys think of? This is the one I always. Well, you guys go with another one. Horford, like the fact that he's still around after like all these years with Florida, he hasn't won a championship. Was he 17 years in now? It feels like at least 15 at least, but I'd say at least 15. What do you make of Horford going for his first championship? And he still plays a crucial factor, it always feels like in these things.
Because you could take this first.
I mean, he's one of those guys, if you're on the other team and he keeps making threes, you're just like, God, man, like, it's just like one of those backbreakers. But he played for Atlanta, which is so hard to think, it's just like the Atlanta had some good teams with Joe Johnson and,
that's what I mean. And he's still there.
And Josh Smith and like all these guys are like out of the league, and he's just still plugging away, and he's effective. Like I won't say that he's not still playing ball, and it's just like that's how old we are now. It's like it's hard to believe that he won the championship in Florida. It's just like this guy's still balling out, and he's still holding his own. 2-time.
16 years.
Yeah, no, Horford, I mean, it's funny, like, just that veteran experience, man. It makes a big difference in these type of moments, just settling in. And I don't know, it's just weird to see a guy out there, but I mean, I think, with the new NBA, it's allowed them to play that stretch 4, stretch 5 if they need them.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that'll be a kind of a little deciding factor because if Porzingis does not play, I mean, he's going to have to go against Lively and Gafford, but I mean, the Celtics just spread him out, and Horford with his 3-point. I mean, he's such a weird 3-point shooter. When he's hot, he's hot. That's all I'll say. When he's hot,
he's in game 1 versus the Warriors. That first time, I mean, he had like 5 threes in that game too. I just think if you look, like, I was thinking like back to like veteran players in our lifetime, like Horford could be like, is he in that Horry, or is he more in like? But he hasn't won championships. Is he Bruce Bowen a little bit like? But I don't know where he fits. Like he doesn't quite have the accolades. Like he's a 5-time All-Star, which is a darn good thing. He's one time was All Defense, and then one time All NBA in 2010. But like those other guys I mentioned just have a little bit more of pedigree, I guess.
I think Antonio McDyess is the best comparison. Obviously, McDyess in his prime was better than Horford, at least offensively. But
maybe
guys who played forever, They're the veteran leadership like McNice was on those Pistons teams.
Yeah.
I would put that there. His or the Hall of Famer. Like he has the
God.
two-time NBA, 2 college championships.
Yeah,
it's
he's a
only
Hall of Famer.
basketball.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
No, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. He gets it. Corey Brewer probably gets it.
Corey.
Who was a little point guard on that team? Something green. Something green. Put him in the hall.
You got another storyline, T?
Oh yeah, I think Drew Holiday versus Luka Doncic on the defensive end. Can he just make it not?
Think that guards him?
Yeah, I do. I think.
All right, I like it.
I think it'll be a good matchup. I mean, don't be switching. Obviously, it's the modern day NBA. No one guy guards someone the whole game, but I think that'll be the primary matchup. And if he can just make him not shoot 50% and 40% from three, and just get him a little bit lower in the mid to low 40s in the field goal percentage range, he did his job. That's how dominant Luka is at this point. He's going to get 30, 10, and 10. But you got to just make him not so efficient and speed him up a little bit and slow him down a little bit.
I mean, in both games, the Mavericks and Boston played, obviously with trades being different and playoffs and momentum, but Luka did average a triple-double against Boston this year. I think he had 30. He had a monster. It was like 30-something, 18 and 13 assists and 30, so he's going to get his numbers no matter what. It's just now you got Derek Jones as a 3-and-D player, which is hard to fathom right now, and then PJ Washington and then Lively. It's just they're a whole nother team right now, and it's just Jason Kidd. I think will be a storyline.
They're like
I think Jason Kidd's going to be a storyline against Missoula. I really think Jason Kidd's kind of coming in as his own as a coach.
I think Luka plays at the same methodical pace. Kidd played fast, but he played so slow in his mind, and I think he understands what Luka does really well. And Luka knows how to push the buttons offensively, how to move and when to be decisive. And I feel like they're starting to figure out each other. Then you have Kyrie, who seems like he's finally in a good spot, everywhere with a franchise that kind of believes in him a little bit more, and so that part gives him a little bit of an advantage. But so it'll be interesting from Boston. If you say Holiday guards Luka, then is Brown taking Irving?
I think White would guard Irving.
Who? White will take Irving to begin with.
That'd be my guess to start the game.
Yeah, I was
but
thinking.
It's not fluid. People are going to be switching.
No, they're switching. So the switch is most of the time, right? It's going to be
exactly.
Horford and Porzingis on Luka. That's probably what the switch is going to be half the time. You're going to get Kyrie. So it'll be interesting how Dallas plays out. I guess that'll be something to look forward to as well. Is this the future? Is this the matchups? Is this a Luka Tatum kind of thing that we're going to see multiple times down the years, or is this maybe a one and done between these guys? What do you guys? It's always funny for me to think like this the future of what we're going to get.
There's so much parity in the NBA. I mean, we're going to have 6 different champs in 6 years. So I mean, who really knows right now? It's just like I think
it doesn't usually happen. I feel like
never.
No, well, the dynasties are dead, and it's funny when people are like, "I hate dynasties," and they go away. They're like, "This sucks. We have too much parity." It's like, well, what the hell do you want? It's like everyone hated the Warriors, everyone hated Spurs. It's like now it's just like, well, everyone can win. And it's like, well, it's yeah, it's like that's what happens when you get guys from Europe all across the world.
People like to complain.
Well, is the dynasty really dead, or that's what I mean? The Celtics, to me, the Celtics could maybe, if they win this year, they're going to be in the running again for the next 3 years.
Oh yeah, for the Eastern Conference Final, they're a dynasty, but when it comes to like winning the championship, no. I mean, if they lose this one, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow because like
if they lose this one,
because you ran into a 2022 Warriors team that was like I believe had like a 15% like favorite to like the Boston was 85% to win that series, and now they got home court advantage. They're going against a Western Conference team in Dallas, but once again, you're going against like what sucks for Boston. You're going against probably arguably the most 2 talented players on offense that have ever played in the league. So it's like, man, like, are you just running into a buzzsaw every time you get to the finals?
2 most talented offense players.
Tyler,
in the league. That's a Gilbert Arenas.
Tyler, on that note, are they generational? Go ahead, finish your thoughts on it, and we'll get to this.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Gilbert will help us out.
With Irving and the generational, with the comment there with Luka. Gilbert, let's see what Gilbert has to say about generational talent.
But to be real, how many teams have won without generational talent?
Steph is not a generational talent.
Detroit.
Steph Curry's.
Steph is not a generational.
Steph not a generation.
You know what a generational? Wemby is a generational person. That is a generational talent.
Steph became
A great generational means you can't mimic it. You can't mimic. You can't
man
mimic.
at number one.
Well, you said you
Number one
can't.
pick.
Can you mimic Magic Johnson, 6'9" point guard with the vision? No. You can't mimic Shaquille O'Neal's body.
Kareem
and what it-
Abdul-Jabbar.
You can't mimic fucking LeBron James. Those you can't mimic Wemby. Those are generational.
I agree.
It only comes once every. Right.
Tyler, those are some of Gilbert's comments about generational talent. I thought that would be kind of a fun discussion to get into because I think you made the point like DNA, like some of those guys just hit the DNA lottery
All of them.
as well. But I feel like when he's on, well, Curry didn't start out there with it. Well, I mean, a lot of the guys that you say in high school are going to be the number one picks end up not being that good. So hard work has to play a factor in some of it. It's not like Shaq, as good as he was, he couldn't just sit down on the couch every day and he was able to jump like that. You know what I mean? And still be aggressive and have. It's not like it works like that. So I think that's what he was trying to say was like from a DNA like standpoint, they're generational, but he didn't really do a very good job of making that point. What's your thought on that, Tyler?
I think, like, obviously, I think Steph's a generational player. Is Kobe Bryant not a generational player? Like, I don't know. If you're dominating for 15 years, you're a generational player. Like, people mimic Kobe and Jordan. Like, that's who people copy. And Steph's almost unmimicable as well as Wembanyama. And I mean, obviously, you can be 6'3" and just bomb threes, but you're not going to be any good at it.
Yeah.
Like we see Trey Young try to impersonate it, and people hate him. They're like, this guy's terrible. I think he's a little better than people give him credit for, but it's not Steph. Nobody's Steph. There won't be I think we'll find another LeBron before we find another Steph.
So
Yeah, I agree, Tyler.
I just think it's kind of funny though, Casey. Like Gilbert is the way Gilbert's on another level sometimes the way he always
That U of A degree, not degree, didn't get a degree, but that education was very lacking.
I love Gilbert. He just stirs up shit. I mean, it's just. I mean,
he does. He just throws everything.
but I do agree with him on like a certain stance of like generational. But I think he's taking that as like like what you said, like a DNA thing. But I don't think you can teach work ethic. I really don't. I think you're either born with it. It's something that's self-taught, or and like generational talent. Do we not see Davidson, Curry in the the tournament? Like, do you
don't
not
they have to go
like,
hand in
do
hand?
you,
Basically,
do you think another guy is gonna make 7,000 threes? Like, I mean, like no, that's generational. Like, no way. And the guys still play it. So, I mean, I get where he's coming from. I mean, what is Darius Miles a generational player because he's 6'9" and a freak athlete? Like, no. I mean, look what happens. Like, there's a ton of those guys. So yeah, exactly. But I mean,
Ben Simmons generational.
yeah,
right? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you can have a generational body, but does that mean you have a generational mind to go with it? I mean, that's where it comes down to. It's like, can you really handle it? And like the maturation of the NBA, they'll chew people and spit them out. So if you don't got, what it takes inside. I mean, see how many people get flushed out of the league. There's 450 people that are in the league. How many think they are generational? It's like, if you ask Atlanta right now, they would say Luka's more generational than freaking Trey Young right now.
Oh, for sure. I think anybody would say that.
Bargnani,
Yeah.
generational.
Because because when you went in, I believe his Luka's draft class was Ayton, Marvin Bagley, a few of those guys. So it's like, what's his name, Michael Porter Jr. So those guys were more generational. Like,
It doesn't make sense the way he worded it. I think Tyler hit it on the head with the D. I think that's where he would, because as soon as you throw Victor out, it's like, okay, like I think that's where you're thinking like just some somebody we've never
signals.
seen physically, yeah. Like, and then you have LeBron. Those are generational, but Magic Johnson. I mean, I don't know. We've seen a lot of players like that are not like that, but you've seen a lot of people with the potential, I guess, of that, and they're not able to reach that. Is the way I sure. So I thought that was kind of a funny thing that this week that happened with that. It's kind of just an interesting way of looking at it too. So I wanted to get this kind of up on the stage as well, unless you guys have any final thoughts.
Do you think Gilbert thinks that way about Steph because he kind of feels he could do what Steph did, but he never really did what Steph did. But he feels in his heart of hearts he could have done that.
I think probably so. When you're an all-star and you're all NBA, like potential and stuff like that, and you were looked upon as one of the best scorers, I think there's an ego there with that for sure. I think that would, he came in as a rookie. He probably was better than Curry for a year or two, maybe, you know what I mean? Those first couple of years when he first came in. So he might not. You're right. That might be a big way of him looking at it, where he saw those other guys and he's like, well, Curry's not generational. I was able to dominate him for 2 years. So I don't know. Like maybe there's some, like, you're right there. That's a good point. I mean, that's how that's
kind of what I saw. Just thinking about it while we were listening, like maybe it's because he was a great player. Don't get me wrong. Like he was all star and he could get hot as a firecracker. And I was like, maybe he just thinks since he could do what Curry did to never the success in the team aspect. Maybe he just thinks that he's not.
Yeah, he probably
can do
if
that.
I had Clay, I had Draymond, I had Steve Kerr, and all that, I'd make it happen. When that's actually not the truth to that stuff. That's not how that works.
If I wasn't playing for the Wizards,
make your free throws. Make your free throws.
You got it, Antoine, baby.
Antoine, baby. What do you guys think of? We had a little. I didn't watch any of the game, but this came up. I know it created a lot of discussion. I just have some thoughts on that with the in terms of just overhype some of that stuff. But I want to get the video. I guess this was the play that caused a little controversy, I believe, early that set it up. We'll see.
Slow-mo.
The putbacks were kind of Team Clark talking a little trash there. The bump heard around the
check
world.
and a beauty.
The hip check and a beauty. So that was the bump heard around the world there. It seems
Mike Ricci.
Mike Ricci styled right into the boards. Shout out to I mean, I don't know where we want to go with this. I feel like with the WNBA talk, like it's kind of funny. Like we've never talked about it on this show very much, and we brought it up. It's not because we don't watch it, so we never felt like we were going to do it. Casey always does, but I'm still how much my brother actually watches, even though he says that's always.
I watched yesterday.
So I guess my point is, like, I'm going to let you guys go first, and then I'll kind of wrap it up with my thoughts. So Tyler, what's your kind of initial thoughts on maybe because that play is not a uncommon basketball play in terms of, like, it's a player losing their emotions at times. You've seen it. That's all my point. It's not like I've never seen that. Yes, it's outrageous to do, and she got a technical and stuff like that. But from a whole thing here that's going on with the CC and all this little talk around it, what's your kind of thoughts with all that?
I think there's a compete thing against her that I don't think they hate her. I just think they want to make her earn what she's getting, and which she didn't put on herself. This is just all based on what she does. And I think in that first clip, watching those putbacks is why the WNBA isn't popular. Like, this is crazy. Like, these are just like, I could watch this at my local high school games, like these putbacks. And she plays this different game.
That wasn't Rusty.
That's a slap in the face. Oh my God.
You do see the putbacks. I'm telling you. Like, it's not like this.
I get what you're saying.
Way better. Don't get me wrong. It's not like the talent is different. But
she would Eric Campier. Let's be fair. We can throw a man out. She would Eric
Campier. They're Rudy Gobert putbacks. But it's caused. I think there's just this envious, like, let's just make her earn what she's getting, and we're gonna overcompete against her. And she was chirping, which is fine. I have no issue.
She gets a lot of. Does she already have like 3 technicals already on the year?
Yeah, she's always talking, which is, I think that's normal in basketball. It's a cheap shot's a cheap shot. I don't care what unless they called your mom, like.
So, but I guess my point is, if we're all here in this discussion, I think we all play basketball. We know it's a cheap shot, but I guess where I kind of want to get into a little talk with is like just some of the, like also some of like I feel like. Where is that? Is it actually true, this intensity towards her, or is it the outside media bringing that actual attention to it? And that's where I'm having a hard time. Like, are the players actually? Because I'm not watching the games on every level, but it seems like the way the media is viewing it is like these players are going at her unnecessarily, and you know what I mean. And you even hear people like you'll say, "Oh, it's what was the one I saw yesterday?" So she's white and straight or something, and that's why they did stuff like that. And I was like. So people, what I'm saying is they're losing their mind and they're using their opinions politically. And I feel like they're using Caitlin Clark as something she's not. And I feel like the media is using her as a push button for their like political agenda, especially on the right now. They're using her for that. It just feels like that a little bit. And then you have the other side kind of defending that because you had this like the WNBA has been a source of controversy throughout the news for the last couple of years, right? With all these little things that they've made. And so I'm just saying, I almost look at it from a bigger standpoint of that's what it feels like. Is like they're just like these outside forces putting, to me, unnecessary pressure on the whole situation. They're just playing basketball and they're being competitive. And like you said, she's making more money than them. But it's not like people are saying, if it wasn't for her, like all this stuff, it's like that's not going to affect people's competitiveness in this. I just feel like there's more outside sources than just Caitlin Clark that's pushing this narrative. That's all I'm saying with it.
I mean, I think Caitlin Clark said it best when she was interviewed, after she was just like, that's not a basketball play. Simple and put. That's all it was. It just wasn't a basketball play. I mean, we've all had, someone ruffle our feathers and try and get under our skin. It's like, is it worth me getting a technical and getting her ejected? Sometimes, as a player, like, yeah, it's worth it. But I think it's accumulation from her college days, being in Iowa, 2 finals appearances, going against Angel Reese in this game. I mean, Caitlin Clark had a fine game, nice floor game, 11 points, 8 rebounds, or 8 assists, 6 dishes, So, I mean, she played a good floor game, and it's just like, I think, with the hype, getting with Angel Reese, too, it was kind of built up. But, I mean, you look at the Fever there, 1-7, or 1-8 before that game. Sky were 3-3. They're 2-8. But, I mean, they're putting Caitlin Clark on, like, every single – I think it was, like, 40-some games, 30-some games that she's televised, 38, I believe, is – and I don't know if it's envious, Tyler. I think it's a little bit of animosity. I think it's like, we've built this league for, 20 plus years and, like you're coming in here and stealing the shine from us. But I don't really think it's on the girls level. I think, just like men, we're competitive as human beings. So it's like anytime, like, well, look at Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic, right? Like how much shit they were talking to each other.
Yeah, but this feels like it's more like race oriented. And that's what I'm trying to like. It does feel like it doesn't. It
I
feel
don't buy it.
I know, but I'm saying like that's what I feel like is driving the narrative.
I will say this. I will say this. Being in Indiana, I think being a basketball and majority white, over on that side, I think that's one of the best things that could have happened to the WNBA because it expanded the region. Now you have like someone to hate for or someone to love. So I think right now it's just like what I mean. I get what you're saying with the media. They are kind of overblowing this because it's like
every little thing they've never cared about the WNBA, but now it's like anytime we can use like an agenda like yesterday, like, oh, these players hate her because of this. That's what I'm saying. You're using an individual that you're trying to represent your thoughts with about something bigger than just the game itself. And to me, it's insane when we do that. Like,
I think hate's a strong word, but I mean, I get where you're coming from. There's always an angle, right? When you're trying to make more money and, they're trying to separate themselves from the NBA to, have their own independent thing. They finally got charter flights for the first time. She's the reason why they're 400% up in sales. Like they've already met their quota for jerseys. Like, I mean, this happened like weeks ago.
So there could be jealousy with all those things then, right?
I don't think it's jealousy though. I think it's just animosity. It's where like you need to earn.
But where
your
does the
stripes.
animosity stem from? Like there's some
That
sort
you
of
haven't
like,
put in.
animosity
You haven't.
stems from jealousy or envy or
I
other
think it's
things.
just you. I think it's because you haven't put in the work. Like if you like, I've been here for 10 years. It's like I'm not jealous of you. It's just like you don't know what it takes to stay at this level. Like you had all the freaking like talent in the roles, but like we're women. Like we are grown. So it's like now it's like you're going against just like in the NBA. You're going against mothers. You're going against people that have
they
families.
want to trash talk you a little bit too. Like the
Yeah,
trash
I
talk
mean,
is acceptable.
they want to push your buttons. They want to see if you're like, man enough or woman enough to stay in this league. And if you are the creme of the creme, you'll rise up in like the next year or two and you'll dominate.
I guess Tyler, I'll give you the final word on it here.
I mean, I agree with Daren that I think the media makes it a race. I don't think the players care about the race. I don't like that. But I think the media uses it to push their agenda, like Daren said. But like Breonna Stewart's white, Sabrina's white, like, and they were getting like Sabrina got to do that 3-point contest. I didn't see any girls come at her for getting these.
I think because she's straight too. I think that matters. Like that makes it easier for the media in some regards. I mean, come on, if we're being real with Tyler, that would actually that's not. Come on, that is.
What do you mean?
like that for some media people, that's easier. Like, oh, well, yeah, she's white and she's straight. Like that matters in the grand scheme.
But I'm saying the players don't care. Like, but they care about Caitlin
Some
Clark,
might.
clearly. What?
Some might.
We haven't seen it. We don't see these flagrant fouls or these comments after the games.
No, I hear you. I said some might. They might not say it out, but I think you're right. The competitive basketball comes from that. But
to
from the
your
grand
point
scheme,
there, to your point, Darren, I think the media is loving this because it's just getting their like viewership up, and it's like the people, the common fan that doesn't like watch basketball, like on the women's side, it's just like all they know is Caitlin Clark. They don't probably know I would say 80% of the rest of the league. They're just like, oh,
they
Caitlin
know
Clark's
Boston
in here.
can't make
Who does?
I don't
You're
know.
looking at one guy that might, but yeah.
80%. I
All right,
guarantee
Tyler,
you don't know.
we should do Who Are They with Casey on the WNBA players. Like, who do they play for? I think we should do that with Casey.
You should bring it on, fellas.
We're gonna get Casey at
I know
WNBA.
Darren's a fan of Kelsey Plum.
Who is it?
After Darren Waller's music video, have you guys seen that music
Weird.
video?
I saw parts of it. Looked a little odd. I couldn't watch. It looked a little odd there.
Yeah, I
so
think
that was-
Caitlin Clark's media is better than that video.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a little. I thought that was a good discussion. I just want to be open with it. I feel like these things play factors. I think the race plays. I just think not in the play itself on the court, but the way things are being perceived. That so most people don't watch the WNBA, so they're hearing it from outlets. So their first thought is these headlines, and it's like sometimes that can manipulate what the actual like what's really going on in the game. But like anything, it drives a narrative and it drives a point. But yeah, good.
Is there any way to fix this? Like, this is getting tiresome. Like, every game that there's some
No,
sort,
it's not.
or is this what they want?
I think no. I think if you're the WNBA at this point, no bad media is, or excuse me, it doesn't matter how you're getting attention. I think the grand scheme of things, as long as it's you get the attention, I think it's good for their sport right now because they don't have as many eyes on it, and it seems like this is drawing eyes. So
How long does this last? How long do people stick around for these type of headlines and stuff?
Well, the big thing to me is if Clark got hurt for let's say she missed like 4 months on something, I'd be very curious what that would be a big thing for me to see, just how that drives. Like that would give you a
Numbers
really
and
big
stuff.
idea how that would force a lot of things there with it. Like, but we'll see. We'll see how players pick up. I know a lot of you hear it on social media. Casey as well apparently watches more of it, so we'll go there with it. And I haven't. I'll be honest. I haven't seen. I didn't watch the game yesterday. I forgot that was actually on. But
It's a great game, man. Great game, 71-70, close it out. But yeah, no. I mean, I will say this to close it out, man. I think the one thing Caitlin Clark does for these other players is she spotlights maybe the players that have been in this league, and they're like, I mean, look at all the arenas that are, just everywhere she goes, she's getting the most attendance on the road. Doesn't matter. So all the players that are playing on for the other team, it's like you watch them, you have to watch them, right? You're like, damn, that girl sounded good. I didn't know she was playing. So I think it brings more attention to them. And I think it's like accumulation of like, whereas now, like, I think it'll take a little bit for the other players to recognize like she's great for our brand. She is the one that's going to have to take us like a Larry and kind of Magic kind of thing.
yeah, for sure. There's
You
going to
know?
have to be something like that, and I think they're getting that kind of drive there with it. I was thinking, Case, like who, like on other sports, like even guys too, who's somebody that's coming young that you sense that the rest of the league has kind of felt like a little like. Or maybe some of the teams have been like, we need to make a point with this young guy. Like, is there anybody else? The one guy that jumps in my mind is Bryce Harper. I felt like the league, I remember the Phillies especially, like there's that famous Cole Hamels where he just like pegs him right in the back just like multiple times. And then, like, Harper steals second. I think he scores on a wild pitch or something like that too. But I just remember Harper getting kind of, because he was really overhyped. He was kind of, a lot of people thought he ran really hard at the beginning. He's kind of the first player I kind of think of when I think of somebody coming in the league like that.
One of the guys I thought was a flash in the pan, and he had that for a hot minute, was Yasiel Puig.
But do you think he didn't come in as like this hype thing? I thought he came in strong.
Oh, you mean as like a teenager coming in? I guess.
Oh yeah, just somebody you looked upon where the league as a whole didn't like them because they were so good when they came up, like as the first pick overall or something like that. And I was thinking like Shaq and those guys. The league knew he was good. So there wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like the other players knew he was going to be there. So I don't think like those type of guys count. But.
It's a little bit different, but I think Johnny Manziel kind of falls under. I think you got all that hype back coming out of college, in college, and they're like, all right, welcome to the NFL. We're gonna. But he never had the success that Puig or Harper had to start their career.
Well, Harper to me is just like more like that. Yeah, just kind of like hyped up. You can see players were like maybe a little jealous of the hype he was getting a little trying to, so then Cole Hamels is like, you know what, I am a little jealous. I'm going to pay you in the back. We're going to do that. All right. I got some kind of bullet points here. You guys through it. Tyler, I thought we'll kind of make this kind of a quick round here with it. Wolves not wanting to join the TNT crew because of Draymond. Seems like a good. That's what I heard after the game. After they won Game 4, I believe Draymond. He's kind of been roasting the T-Wolves quite a bit, and I was like, "Why can't you just take Draymond off the set?" But apparently not. So the Wolves, they banded together and said, "No, we will not talk to the TNT crew as long as Draymond's up there." And Draymond, I think he trolled the Wolves again after they lost or something like that. He said goodbye or something like that to him. So they obviously have a little something going there, obviously with him chokeholding Gobert as well during the middle of the season. So I thought that was kind of funny there.
Hold.
What do you got, Tyler? What do you think about this one? You've been watching him the last 2 days, Homer against your Giants. Mr. Aaron Judge, he's on another level right now. What do you get, like 20 home runs in May, 80 yards? He was absolutely insane. 62? Is he going to pass 62 again? Is he? I mean, he looks like he's just on. I don't know. He's on point with everything right now.
He's ridiculous. He makes AT&T look small, and not many guys have done that since Barry Bonds. Like, there's a select few. He's a great player.
Come on, he's got a ton of balls right now.
Oh, he's a beast. He's a great player. I don't know. What are you going to say about him other than I wish he signed with the Giants 2 years ago?
Do you think he'll break 62?
No, I don't think they'll get to 62.
He's on the pace to do it. So we'll see if he can.
A lot of people always start out on pace.
Well, he's done it too. He has the track record of going up to 62. So we'll see if he.
Did he get to 62?
Yeah, because he broke the American League record. Remember all the crap with Roger Maris, his grandson, all that little stuff for a while. Like now we have the true home run champion. Remember he was.
I just watched 61 the other day. That's a good movie.
Yeah, and all the Roids guys didn't like it because of that. So that's why Roger Maris. I mean, you don't remember that? Everybody was like, "Shut up!"
No, I do know.
Aaron Judge is the true home run champion.
Didn't he break it in Florida or something like that? Was it Miami? Toronto. That's right. It was Toronto.
So anyways, he'll get there. You guys probably don't watch any playoff hockey, I'm guessing. But no hockey.
No, I've been watching a lot of
I've actually kind of been enjoying it.
The Rangers Panthers. That was really good games.
The Edmonton's the team I'm kind of always fascinated by, just because of their uniforms. I've always liked their uniforms for some reason, and the McDavid obviously helps quite a bit. They got some there, so I've enjoyed kind of watching some of their games. The NHL draft, boys, #1 pick here in a couple.
The
weeks.
best part about NHL hockey is Tootie did with 10 minutes left in the third period in a tie game. The drama is ridiculous from there.
Or even a one goal game.
Or a 1 goal game.
Yeah,
just a close game with 10 minutes left in the third. You get overtime maybe every once in a while. It's just fun.
So those are kind of our headlines this week with things we had going on. We'll get to our winners and losers, unless you guys got anything else you want to comment on. But we could do it over winners and losers as well if we want. So
absolutely.
Who do you guys got? Panthers or Edmonton?
Well, Edmonton still has to win today.
Very well, yeah, but
they haven't been there in 18 years. That's the big talk. Big rains on set on TNT.
I mean, they're at
been
home,
there less than in the 2000s.
They made it one random year. Obviously, 18 years ago. So random year, 18 years ago.
I thought you were going to go back to Gretzky. And I was like,
no. After that. I didn't realize somebody said the Sharks 2016. I was like 7 years. Like I was thinking I was like 7 years ago. That was funny because the Warriors and the Sharks were in the same time that year, and they both lost.
Was that the Jerome McGinley? What was that when they lost to Calgary in the Cup? Ryan would know.
Before that.
Yeah, should we?
I think that might be the last time I followed hockey.
Do we have to Florida?
Like really
who will be on what? Florida, California. We're on Edmonton. No, we don't want. All right, so we got that. All right, winners and losers. I got kind of a bigger list, so this one might be a little time. But Tyler, what do you got for any winners or losers this week? You start out with what you want.
I got a winner, and they actually lost in the Champions League final in Borussia Dortmund. They've lost 2 of the 3 top 5 players in all of soccer, Jude Bellingham to Real Madrid, who beat them, and then Erling Haaland and Man City. And this isn't even a big – like, they're big, obviously, but they're not like a Real Madrid, Barca, Man U, Chelsea, like that level. And they have made it to, like, the Champions League final, which is, like, the ultimate goal in European soccer, like, 4 times in the last 15 years. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, dude. It's pretty wild.
Case, you got any winners of the week?
Besides myself, yeah,
Oh, we
no,
got Dean Garfield.
no, I would say the guy that I was kind of thinking. I always mess up his name, Usyk. I think it's a little past quick, but the one that beat Fury, I thought that was, might be a little bit, but it was crazy because it looked like Tyson Fury was just like undefeatable, like the Russian and
Piecing him apart.
Rocky. Yeah, and just to see him go down, it was I don't know. For me, that was pretty damn impressive. And he's a Ukrainian with everything they still going on, and just a winner maybe for their country to just celebrate, especially after sadly that the heavy the strongest man from Ukraine passing away or dying in the war. It was kind of nice to see a little kind of just that strength of just building up you kind of forget because seems like it's ongoing, but yeah, for him, I thought it was just a lift up for the country, for Ukraine, really.
Maybe he could donate his purse instead of America giving all their money to Ukraine.
Tyson Paul coming up in the summer. That's the big fight with Tyson Paul. All right, I had a few winners here at that. You already mentioned, but Real Madrid winning. College baseball. I'm always when it gets to the time where there's kind of the playoff, it's always nice to have random games on that you can watch at night if you're just looking for a little bing off the bat once in a while. And college baseball is a totally different game at times. There's way more error possibility and just these little factors that make it a little interesting. Games seem to go a lot longer too, even with the time clock. So I've enjoyed that winner of the week back with that. Mike Brown and Sweet Lou, they get paid as coaches there. That's winner of the week as well. They get, I think, is Lou higher paid now than Kerr? Is that what it is? I think he maybe made more now that I have that as well. And then when we talked a little bit of this on Double Double with Tyler, but for me, Bill Walton, I was talking about him like he's, and I know for us, I was thinking about this Tyler after we talked. I was like, we never really got into it in our discussion about we only really grew up with him as the announcer side and really more the goofy, but he actually was like the NBA Finals guy for a while in the early 2000s. So obviously you can't be like you can't be the total stick he came at the end where he's like that was what he stuck to. But the other thing too is like I think we forget like how good of a player, like we didn't watch him, but like the stats are what they are. Like and like you can see like he missed like 5 good years of his NBA prime and like but his college numbers are undeniable. Like that famous championship game. He's one of those what if kind of guys for sure for like an NBA standpoint. Where he would have been, would he have been able to battle Kareem and all those guys during their prime that he missed out on? But I think for us, we never got to see that side of like how good he was. But that part also, it was he's part of the record run, right, with UCLA as well, right, where they won like some crazy amount of games. So,
and he was part of the Rip City team too, right?
Yeah, that was like, and a lot of people consider that
MVP.
One of the best one-year teams of all time. They weren't able to keep it going and stuff. But I thought this commercial was kind of funny just because of the shoe, too. So here's a Bill Walton commercial from 1991.
Playing basketball is hard on your body, but it's really tough on your feet. The pump. Where were you when I needed you? If I could play today, I'd pump up for support, protection, and a custom fit. Hey, it's time to move to a new neighborhood. Pump up and air out.
Switch to the greatest sports performance shoe in the world, the Reebok Pump. Pump up and air out.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. I remember as a kid that being a big deal. The shoe was kind of like that would have been. I was 7 when those came out, so you could have had me fooled with those being a big deal. So that boy, I was there, but I don't know. I thought that was kind of a funny commercial, but I know you weren't necessarily a fan of his announcing, but to me, he was.
I said I liked it when he did the NBA finals and stuff.
I meant even
his went to college, it got too
weird for you. I guess
it's not enough NBA. It's not enough basketball. It's more about like these Grateful Dead acid trips that he'd go on.
I think for me, I never cared enough about my teams on there with the pack because you probably were Arizona. You're like, I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about the I was like, I don't care about that. Let me just hear about him talking about water going upstream and stuff like that. I don't know.
How does the water go up the mountain stream?
How does it happen? That was kind of funny. That one we did see with what was it? What's the comedian that talks? He does the Bill Walton voice.
Frank Caliendo.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know, and he does it. He's like, you'll never know when to cut it. How do you do this? Like, yeah, like he just keeps going and stuff like that. So I thought those were some funny. So
He has one of the big like cachets of the sign where he's like, "Throw it down, big man." That's always one of my favorite lines that he had. Throw it down, big man. He had some good ones.
Yeah, he did have some good ones for sure.
And God bless Dave. Dave Pash was a great guy to have by his side when they did the college. Yeah, I don't know. I love Bill. He was just like, I don't know. I was just like you said, Darren. I didn't get to watch him growing up, but like anytime the Pac-12 was on, I felt like the game was like irrelevant because the Pac-12 sucked, and he was just like, "This is the conference of champions. This is where the best of the best play. If you want to be a part of this league, this is where the men are the men. Then you got to step up. Oh, look at him. Throw it down, big man. You still like, this is one of John Wooden would just, this is the bounce pass, the give and go. Oh, this is executed beautifully. Oh, it's just like,
you're right about that. You're on top of that case. It'd almost be like he was being sarcastic about the player because he'd be like, oh, look at Johnny Smith there. What a jumper at the elbow. And it's like he averages like 3.2 plays a game. He's unstoppable right now. He has every aspect. Yeah, you're right there.
Just like Pistol Pete.
Yeah, there was a lot of that stuff.
It was like Shaq and Charles. They were talking about him after, and he's just like, every time he talked, he's like, maybe like a lot of like, the people that did play the NBA, but he's like, all of us knew like what he was saying because it was just like an undertone to it. It's just like, oh, what a pass, and it was just like a wide open outlet.
It'd be like a simple little thing. That's exactly what it was. Yeah, he was. I was trying to look up his best season. Like the most points he averaged. Well, back then his best season was, like they said, 1977. In 1978, it was the number 2 MVP. 77. Next year he was the MVP. So obviously playing against a little different center era back then than what we're used to now.
I believe he had the follow. He had to follow Lou Alcindor and Wilt Chamberlain, right? He was the third, I believe. The center that from UCLA. It went Lou Alcindor.
Chamberlain went to Kansas. But it was after.
Or not, but Kareem. Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just an historic big man. I don't know. It's just to live up to those expectations.
And he's only 71. For some reason, I thought he was old. That's kind of surprising. He's 71. He was only 71. So
heavy drug use to get old fast.
There you go. Grateful Dead. They helped him. I wonder how many concerts he actually went to there. So I'm curious how many he went to. All right, I got that. Last any other for loser of the week, Tyler? We got loser.
I got one more. One of my winners.
Go ahead, give me another winner there.
Islam Makhachev, UFC, goes to a war with Dustin Poirier, pulls out a choke to win in the 5th round. Just a good fight. There was a battle. Makhachev was probably going to win on the scorecards if there wasn't a finish, but he got the finish and a couple bonuses. I don't even like Islam. I think he's boring because he likes to wrestle, but that was a good fight.
He has that look of the other guy. All right, loser of the week, T. Who you got?
No, I don't have a loser of the week. A bunch of winners this week.
Lots of winners this week. Well, then we'll add, I don't know if it's a loser for you, but Hard Knocks. They chose the Chicago Bears. Is that a loser of the week?
That's a good one.
Are you a Hard Knocks fan?
No,
I don't.
I like the clips. I don't really tune in.
To me, it's like most of the guys they focus on aren't even going to be in the league.
Yeah,
I always feel like that's going to be part of it as well. Like most of these guys aren't even going to be in the league at the time. All right, Casey, you got any losers? Are you a winner week as well?
I got Deontay Wilder. I think his career might be finished after that. Like, I don't know. I think Tyson Fury is kind of, I don't know. I was thinking about it because they went to war in those, I believe it's 3 fights, Tyler, right? That they had? Wilder and
Fury?
Was it 3 or 2?
3, I believe.
3.
They called a draw on one, and then Fury won, and I think Fury won again.
What was the first fight? The one where he came out with apparently the over
Yeah, and he got tired from carrying all the extra weight into the ring.
Just have less carry.
I mean, but it's crazy. I think about when I read that, and I was like, man, there is no weight limit for heavyweights. Like the guy that fought him was 68 pounds heavier. I mean, that's a lot of weight, dude. But I mean, Wilder, I believe, has lost 5 out of his last 6, 4 of the last 5. I mean, he's 38 years old. I think his career, for him, I mean, you can never tell someone to retire, but I think he's made enough money. His story is incredible, but I think, just that's a tough pill to swallow, man. I think this might have just wrecked him. I think he's done.
Boxing's that sport. It can go.
Yeah, I think boxing, like you said, when you are not a boxer per se, like you get into the game at 25 years old, which Wilder did, and you're not like a technician, it's hard to box when you're 36, 37, 38. It just makes it impossible. You lose a half or a quarter of a second in reflexes, you're done. You're going to get knocked out. It just seems like he's aged.
You got to think, Tyler, those Fury fights took probably at least a couple years off of this. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, those were some vicious fights. I mean,
you brought up the weight where he's weighing more, like 60 pounds more than and he did it against Fury. It's not Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
Why do these middleweights complain about 3 pounds? Like, is it that big of a deal? Like, this guy's 60 pounds. I mean, then you hear about 3 pounds of the middleweight, and they're like, "Oh, it's the end of the world. This guy has such an advantage."
I know.
It's like fighting these guys 40 pounds heavier.
68.2. They said going. And I was like, "That's a huge big. Like that's like me.
Well,
I'm like I'm 175."
Couple more
175. I couldn't imagine fighting someone 245. I'd get destroyed. Like, I mean,
get to the body.
I mean, I could have hit him as much as I want, but I'm like, one punch from that, I'm probably down.
All right, Fatboy FadeAway, episode 177 here. The gentleman will kind of get us out with this. I'll end it here. I thought this would be, as baseball is kind of for me, that starts around June here, the first week. Those are always good memories. When you get the movie that came out about this time of year, about 34 years ago now. This time, I was at 31 years ago now. One of my favorite scenes of all time. Let's see, get it up on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy when you play with a bunch of rejects and fat kids, Rodriguez.
Shut your mouth, Phillips.
What'd you say, crap face? I said you shouldn't even be allowed to touch a baseball. Except for Rodriguez, you're all an insult to the game. Come on! We'll take you on right here, right now! Come on! Right now! We plan a real Diamond Porter. You ain't good enough to lick the dirt off our cleats. Watch it, jerk. Shut up, idiot. Moron! Scab eater. Butt sniffer, pus licker, fart smeller. You eat dog crap for breakfast, geek. You mix your weeds with your mama's toe jam. Yeah! You bob for apples in the toilet, and you like it. You play ball like a girl.
Gentlemen, kind of wrap it up there. Just
cancel them. They got to be canceled. You can't say that.
I don't know why that line was.
And you like it.
Do you think that's what the WNBA players are saying to Caitlin Clark?
That's just one of the greatest movies, as a just very nostalgic movie, right? That's one of the best out there of all time when you're in the mood, like right, little baseball. That's always a good movie to go to. And one of the greatest scenes. Well done, right there. That was one of the better ones I can remember as a kid there. So many great stuff with that. So, gentlemen, have a good rest of your Sunday. Hope everybody else there has a good rest of their weekend as well. Casey, thanks for joining us, man. Hopefully we can do it again.
Yeah, appreciate it, fellas. It was fun, man. It was good chopping up, man. Very good time.
Every Sunday. We'll see you at 7:15.
You know the time.
God willing.
God willing, you got headphones with making strides. All right. For Casey Breyer, Tyler McGurk, I'm Daren Breyer. Fatboy FadeAway Sports, episode 177 in the books. Take it easy. Peace.